Israel attacked Qatar's capital, Doha, today, and this is actually very uncommon. This is the first time that Israel has attacked Qatar, and Qatar is not a country that gets bombed. I understand that a lot of Americans just assume that the whole entire Middle East gets bombed, but Qatar getting bombed is very unusual. And so the reporting that American mass media and just Western mass media in general has been doing completely botched. They've been missing the mark reporting this completely, and they're missing a lot of context. So I do want to come here and provide some context for you. You understand how this happened. The way that American mass media is framing this is that they're saying Israeli IDF said that they shot missiles and they targeted the Hamas leaders in Qatar. And although this is partially true, they did shoot missiles to target Hamas leaders, they didn't really talk about how this was all planned. And this is, I believe, intentional because they want to produce manufactured consent in order to continue to bomb civilian areas of the Middle East indiscriminately without anyone really questioning why they're doing it. And with this overarching excuse of Hamas, right? About a week ago, Donald Trump and Israel came together and they gave Hamas leaders a peace deal. And so they were like, hey, we need to negotiate this to see if we could come to an agreement to come to peace, per se. Hamas leaders and negotiators ended up going to Qatar in order to negotiate this deal. And so the base that the leaders were at, the Hamas leaders were at to negotiate this deal, that's what actually got bombed. So when you question, well, how did Israel know that there were leaders, Hamas leaders in Qatar? Why were they even in Qatar? That's why. It was an intentional luring so that they can get them into Qatar and they could bomb them under this false pretext that there is a ceasefire negotiation happening. Obviously, these negotiations were immediately halted when they got bombed. Also important to note that this is exactly how they killed Iranian negotiators when Donald Trump came up with this false pretext that he wanted to do nuclear negotiations. That was never his plan. He didn't want to do nuclear negotiations with Iran. He knew he was never going to be successful because of Israel's influence. There's no way on God's green earth that Israel would ever let something like that happen. At least I would believe so, given the amount of power that they have over any US president, not just Donald Trump. But when we talk about Qatar and the bombing of Qatar, it is absolutely unacceptable, and the way that they did it is extremely unethical. Obviously, Donald Trump had a hand in it, even though it's not officially coming out yet. Hamas leaders have come out and said that none of their leaders were killed. We have yet to figure this out. The IDF has come out and said that they were just targeting Hamas leaders. That's really all they've said. I want us to really think about how American media has been covering this, because the way American media has been covering this is that they're just like, hey, we were going in and Hamas leaders died. Oh, you guys lured them into Qatar and you bombed a civilian area without any care for international law. Qatar obviously isn't the first country that has been bombed by Israel. My own country, Iran, has been bombed. Yemen, the coast of Tunisia was just bombed because Syria, Iraq, Lebanon, obviously Palestinian territories. And this is multiple countries that, you know, Israel bombs indiscriminately, and no one, yeah, we all condemn it, but do they stop? No. And now we're at a point where we're adding Qatar to the list, and to be quite frank with you, Qatar does not have the same kind of defense systems that a country like Israel or Iran has set up. Now, usually on the first or second missiles, they don't intercept them, but after, you know, during the Israel-Iran war that lasted a couple of days, they were intercepting a lot of bombs, and so they do have that kind of infrastructure. Same with Israel, because they have the Iron Dome, but Qatar is not set up in that way. And so Qatar is in a place where they can't really defend themselves if they were to end up in a war with America and Israel. And do I think they're going to respond to this? I don't know. I do know that they fundamentally do not have the infrastructure to be able to go against something like a beast that's so big. Now, I don't know what is going to happen of the negotiation deals. I'm assuming they're not going to go anywhere because they just got bombed. I think it's very important that we look at the language that we use when we talk about these kinds of bombings, and you know, we don't allow for manufactured consent to continue to cycle within our news media and within our conversations. Because we justify indiscriminate bombings of Middle Eastern countries. We allow that different countries to get bombed, civilians to get bombed, civilians to die. Like, that's not normal. I'm very curious to hear what you think, so let me know in the comment section below. I do upload news videos every single day on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, so make sure you subscribe to me and check me out on other social media sites, but make sure you hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.